most teachers, when you're teaching Math 8, I like doing times first, then I jump to adding and subtracting. And I like to do it near the beginning of the chapter because this is where most students make the mistakes of adding and subtracting. You think it's easy, but there's all those little negatives get in the way and make it confusing and chances of mistakes happening. So when I taught grade 10s, like the math concepts change, but you still have to do like adding, subtracting those math concepts. And the adding and subtracting integers is where people made all their mistakes. They understand what to do with math, it's just the counting. That's where they're making mistakes. So I do it now at the beginning of the chapter. Hopefully by the end you got a pretty good solid idea of it, right? All right, so now, if we see this symbol right here, what does it mean?
Positive.
Positive. It also means add, I heard somebody say. What else does it mean? What other words have we used for that symbol? We started Dave doing those. Logan. Plus. Anything else? I can think of one more. All right, Jaden? Addition and add are the same word. One's just abbreviated version of that one. It starts with S. Can you think of it? Sorry? Sum. Okay. Now, I say this because if you use the different words, sometimes it's easier to handle a question. Or these different words show up in word problems. And they may say, hey, add these two numbers together. That's easy. You're used to what the word add means. But they may say, find the sum of these numbers. So you need to know what that sum means to add, right? So all these kind of words show up in different kind of contexts. Then we have this symbol here. What are the different words for this? Lucas? Negative. Jaden, what's the other one? Subtract. Ava, do you have a different one?
No.
Nash?
Minus.
Minus. Is that the one you were thinking, Lillian? Minus. I can think of two more. Oliver?
Takeaway.
Takeaway. Is that the one you were thinking, Mackenzie? I like the one takeaway a lot. There's another one that shows up a lot. It starts with the letter D. Right? Shows up a lot of times in science class and math or talk. No? Nobody knows it? Or it's not coming to their mind? Is the word difference. Find the difference between this. It means subtract the two things together. Right? So if you look up on my board above the chalkboard or the whiteboard, some of the words are up there. Addition and sum, difference and subtract, quotient and divide, all mean the same thing, product and multiply. Right? They come in handy, knowing all the different versions. Okay, so now we're going to look at how to add and subtract integers, so positive and negative numbers. Right? And we're going to do a little bit of a review. So the first part of the review is how you get taught in grade 7 is using chips. Yes? Oh, there we go. Right? And so if we use chips, right, those are the diagram method. So if you have positive 4, it would look like this. 4 plus signs. Now I like the diagram method because it's very, very visual, right? Makes it really easy to do it. Unfortunately, the big con of it, it's slow because you're drawing these things out and it takes forever, right? So we use it to introduce ideas and we quickly move away. So today we're going to use them and next day we're probably going to move away from it. And if you have -5, we would draw 5 negatives, okay? So now, if you ever get stuck on what to do with adding and subtracting, you can always draw it out. Right? So I'm going to show you how to draw it out and figure out the answer to questions. Right? So the way we do it is we go and you have a bunch of math questions. You draw the first one and it says 3 positive. So you draw out 3 positive chips. 1, 2, 3. All right? Then we have the symbol in between these. That's right here. That's the plus sign or add on or addition. It says, hey, we have 3 positive, add on another 4 positives. That's what that's saying, the math sentence, using numbers. Add on another 4 positives. 1, 2, 3, 4. And what we have all together is our answer. So what's our answer? 7. Or positive 7. Right? We don't need to show the plus sign. Right? Okay, let's do another one. We have the first one here. Right? That's a -5. So we're going to draw 5 negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so draw the 5 negatives. Then we have the subtract symbol. Instead of thinking subtract or minus, I like to use the word take away in my mind. So it says we have 5 negatives and we're going to take away 2 negatives. So we're not going to draw all negatives. We're going to take them away. We're going to take away 2 negatives. So I'm going to take this one away, and I'm going to take this one away. Take away 2 negatives. And what we have left over is our answer. So what do we have left over? -3. Right? This is -3. -3, like this. Right? So with all these symbols, it can get quite confusing. But if you draw it out, you can figure it out. Only has an issue with it is the time it takes. All right. So now, let's do the next one. We start off with the first one. We draw 3 positives. 1, 2, 3. Then we have the plus sign. Right? And the plus sign says, hey, add on the next number. 2 negatives. So we're going to add on 2 negatives. 1, 2. So now what we do is, before we come up with the answer, is if you have a mix of positive and negative things, they cancel each other out. The positive one and negative one makes a 0. So this and this cancel each other out. We have a positive on the top and a negative on the bottom. They cancel each other out. That makes 0. And you were probably told a word last year about that. Nash, do you remember what that word was called?
Pairs.
Pairs, and it was sorry, 2 words. Something pairs. Yeah, 0 pairs. So that's called a 0 pair. Because those things cancel out to make a 0. So that's a, oops, let's go here. Let's go Control G. Let's go here, and that's called a 0 pair. Then we do it again for another one. Oh, there's another positive and negative that can be paired up to make 0. And what is left over is our answer. So what's left over? 1. And it's positive. So what's left over is positive 1 equals plus 1. Okay. All right, let's look at this. And let's jump to this one here, because I think you guys got this. Okay. Draw the first one. Are we doing positive 4 or doing negative 4? Positive. There's no sign in front of it. There's no negative sign in it, so it's going to be positive 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the hardest situation, I think, that we're talking about today. Then we're going to go like this. Subtract. Take away. Take away 3 negatives. But there's a problem. What's the problem, Kenzie?
Taking away the negatives, you would get higher.
Yeah, they should be getting higher, but what's the problem with our diagram?
I just switched the.
Oh, we're going to talk about that next day. Good, I'm glad you already know that. We're going to talk about that next day. So the problem with this question is we can't take away the negative chips. There's no negative chips drawn here. So we have to do a math trick. So you have to look at the question and go, okay, I can't take away -3 because everything sitting there is positive. So what we're going to do is do a math trick, and we're going to draw extra negatives in just so we can take them away later. All right, so I'm going to go like this. I'm going to draw in an extra 3 negatives because I know I need to take them away. But here's the trick, right? Our original number is 4, so we need this to be still 4. So instead of just drawing 3 negatives, we also need to draw an extra 3 positives. Because what we did is technically not change the number, still the number 4. And we added 3 0 pairs. So that's still the number 4, right? With 3 extra 0 pairs. Now what we can do with the extra -3 there is now we can start taking away negatives. So now we go like this. We go, okay, this is still 4. Now we can take away the -3. You go, here's one negative we're going to take away. Here's another negative we're going to take away. And here's another negative we're going to take away. And what we have left over, and you are right, it gets bigger, right? So what we have left over are 7 positives. Plus 7. Okay? Not easy. That's the hardest situation. All right? I'm going to let that settle in your minds. And when we see you again on Monday, we'll continue on with this. We got lots of time left in class, right? So I'm not